Hey, dreamer! Habits is our topic for today, and I've been wondering if good habits are so hard to get started and maintain, then why is it that bad habits are so hard to break? Are you curious? Are you interested? Then let's get to it! Welcome back, dreamer. This is the Dreamer to Achiever channel, your channel for the skills, strategies, and encouragement to make your dreams come true. I'm going to talk with you about habits today. Habits can be a really sticky topic because there's so much involved in habits. There are emotions, there are routines, there are activities, there are goals, it can get overwhelming. Today, I'm going to help you sift through all of that and take a clear look at habits that you may want to establish in your life. We'll also talk a little bit about how to get out of those bad habits. So please stay tuned. Habits are a really important tool in pursuing our dreams. In fact, habits are a really important tool for achieving success in anything that you want to do. That's because, believe it or not, more than 40% of our day is wrapped up in habits. And if you are a creature of habit, then probably an even higher percentage is true. In fact, our brain likes when we establish habits because it gives our brain a sense of control as well as a sense of stability. Habits can be a source of comfort. Do you have habits in your life that you really want to hold on to? They may be part of a nighttime routine or maybe a morning routine, or just the habit of calling a specific friend on a certain day of the week. I used to have a habit of talking to my son on his way into work every day. Sometimes habits can be sitting in a specific spot. I know I always had a specific seat at the dinner table, or I'd have a specific side that I'd like to ride in the car whenever my sister and I would go for a ride with my parents. So even growing up, we develop these habits that may stay with us throughout our lives. When we're looking to achieve a big dream, we want to have habits established that support that dream. So let's take a minute to think about what those could be. I have a dream of becoming physically fit, of becoming very healthy. While that dream isn't very specific, I think that you can agree that it's possible to see progress along the way towards better health. What habits could I establish that would help me to improve my health? Someone I know has decided to cut out processed foods from their diet. I've been developing habits that have been reducing carbohydrates in my meals. I might also develop a habit of more exercise, getting out and walking every day. Those are all habits that would support my dream of having better health. I think it's fairly easy to come up with these habits that would support our dreams or bring us to achieving our dreams. Yet it's often hard to get started or to be able to maintain the habits. These habits often show up as New Year's resolutions. And I'm sure many of you already know the statistics on that. Most New Year's resolutions by the end of January are toast. They're gone. And by the end of April, many people are struggling to follow through on them. So let's talk about some strategies for success with our habits. In fact, these may even be stellar strategies. Stellar strategy number one is to start small. When we start small, what we do is we take where we want to end up with this habit and gradually get there. For example, the habit of going for a walk every day. If I am a couch potato and rarely go for a walk, then saying that I'm going to establish a habit of going every day may be a bit overwhelming. If I walk for a couple of days and then I miss a day, then I may feel completely defeated because I haven't walked every day. It might be wise to start off with 2 or 3 days a week. And after you've built that habit or routine in, then you can add to it and expand. Stellar strategy number 2, hook your habit to an already established habit. Well, what does that look like? Let's take, for example, walking. I already have habits built into my morning routine, so could I add walking? What if I decided to walk each day after breakfast, or walk each day after brushing my teeth? By hooking your habit to something that you're already doing, you're getting your mind ready during that habit. Like as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm thinking about walking. Stellar strategy number 3, troubleshoot. When I'm establishing a habit, I like to troubleshoot what could possibly get in my way of completing this habit and how could I work around it. With the example of walking every day, what happens if the weather outside is frightful? What happens when it's really bad weather out? What would I do? Recently, life threw me a curveball where I've ended up in a much colder and snowier area for this season. As part of my troubleshooting, I purchased a warmer coat. I also purchased walking boots that have arch support in them, as well as will provide warmth on those particularly snowy days. However, sometimes the weather is just not hospitable for going outside for a walk. So there are other things that I could do. I could walk in place. I'll take my steps any way I can. If I'm walking in place, I might even put a TV show on to watch as I'm walking. Honestly, I prefer to walk outdoors, but I've got plans set up in case anything happens that interferes with my walk. Stellar strategy number 4, track your progress. It's important to track our progress as far as habits are concerned because that's a bit of reinforcement to us that we're doing well. In fact, if you have a habit that you're trying to establish over a long period of time, then you can see your progress and growth in achieving that habit. You can also see patterns and troubleshoot around them. Recently, I had a health issue for a member of my family that prevented me from going on my outdoor walk every day. Well, I found that there's plenty of room to walk in a hospital, and I decided to do my walking there. I might have not been able to do my walking during that emergency or crisis time. Then I would have the data of how long that lasted for and what the start back up process looked like as I re-engaged with the habit. Not easy, but it can be a really useful tool. I recommend habit tracking tools. I prefer analog ones, so I have my bullet journal set up to keep track of my most important habits. A word of advice when you are establishing a habit, and especially when you're keeping track of it in a bullet journal or through any other means, it's important to realize that we are not perfect. We may miss a day, and that's okay. We may miss 2 days. Then you have that data about the 2 days and you keep going. Just start back up and do it again. Now, as for those bad habits, I'll make a confession. Growing up, I had a bad habit of biting my fingernails whenever I was anxious, and that habit carried through into adulthood. How do you go about breaking a habit that's bad for you? Another habit has been eating lots of chocolate. I love chocolate. Chocolate with the sugar that I enjoy in it is not good to consume large quantities of. So I've had to figure out how to stop that habit. Things that have helped me stop habits have been being aware of the habit when I'm engaged in it. So, catching myself. For example, if I'm biting my nails, catching myself biting my nails and saying, whoa, wait a minute, I'm trying to stop that. That is going to take some of the pleasure out of being in the habit away so that I can work on stopping it altogether. Pretty soon, you'll end up stopping the habit before you ever actually engage in that bad habit. Another strategy could be replacing that habit with something else. When it came to chocolate, I was eating it because it tasted really good, and I just got in the habit of not thinking about the chocolate. So I've established another habit, and there are two parts to it. I've actually found chocolate that's not really all that bad for me, although anything in large quantities can be bad. I've reduced myself to one piece after lunch and one piece after dinner by saying that I am intending to have that one piece. I look forward to that one piece, and that's good for me. The more you do a habit, the more that habit becomes a part of the natural way that you do things. So identify habits that support your dreams and work to slowly establish them until you get closer and closer and finally achieve your dreams. Before I end this video, I'd like to ask for some help. As I've explained, I've never really written a book before, so I'm reaching out to you. What do you think some great habits would be to establish in order to write that book? Please leave them in the comments below. As always, I encourage you to keep on dreaming, and I'll say bye for now.